Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast, a radio show coming to you on this Friday, March the 24th, 2022. Hopefully, it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, we are talking about 6 ways you can improve in numerous areas of your life, whether it be your health, your fitness, your finances, your relationships, and everything in between. But before we jump into some of that, real quick, just some housekeeping tips. One, the Jeremy Scott Fitness app is live. Again, you guys, we kicked off our 40 days of fitness about 20 days ago. All the challenges are inside of the app. We are rocking and rolling inside of there. All my personal weekly workouts, full programs, our nutritional content. We answer every question asked inside the app and everything in between. So if you guys want to check it out, the link is in the show notes, jeremyscottfitness.app. You guys will get a free 7-day trial. You can see if it's for you. Check it out. If it's not for you, we'll find something that fits your needs somewhere else. But again, get in there, try it, see if it helps you guys move your body through space. If you like it, stick with us for a couple of pennies. If you hate it, I'm happy to suggest somewhere else for you guys to go. But again, I've been pouring everything into there. A lot of you guys are in there already. We appreciate you. We have thousands of app members, and you guys are rock stars. We've got a ton of new improvements coming to the app as well. So I'm excited to share those with you guys. And again, I've been updating weekly content inside there ever since we started this. A bunch of mobility flows and a bunch of new fun little things coming your way that I'm personally working on right now that you guys will get to see later this summer and then later this year as well. So if you want to check it out, jeremyscottfitness.app, links in the show notes, free week on me. And also, you guys know this episode is brought to you by my homies at Athletic Greens, the one thing I take every single day and I never miss. If you're somebody who struggles to eat enough fruits and vegetables, and let's be real, almost all of us do, this would be the one thing I would throw into your life. So if you are not eating as many veggies as you should, you struggle to get in fruits, maybe you travel, kids, work, life is hectic, and you want to be a little bit healthier and you want a real simple habit you can throw into your life, this would be the one thing I would do, and that is why I do it. Right now, we'll give you guys a year's supply of free vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with order 1. Or if you want to try it 100% for free, I will send you a travel pack right to your front door. Message us however you can, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the website. Monica will ship a pack right to you. You can try it for free. See if you like it. If you do, then you get hooked up with all the free stuff from there. So it's my gift to you guys to make you a little bit healthier. Don't feel weird. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you guys. That's why we keep offering it. And again, Heather's traveling right now. She took all the greens with her. She just told me today on the phone. She's like, I'm super proud. I took all my stuff. And again, we're all healthy people, right? Like we all want to be healthier, but sometimes like we forget. You might forget the 14 different pills at home, or you forget some of your healthy travel snacks. The longer you do this, the more it just becomes this regimented habit. And so for her, just taking the packs with her, crushing them, and obviously being stuck in certain hotels and certain situations where you can't control the food, this is a nice way to cover the gaps in your eating and still get your probiotics, your digestive enzymes, and everything in between. So if you guys want to check them out, athleticgreens.com/Jeremy Scott for the free stuff, or hit me up for the free travel pack today. All of their podcast. I'm losing my mind today. Podcast sponsors are in the show notes. Our friends at JLab Pro, where we get our protein, turmeric, collagen, krill oils. That's all in there. Our friends at Sleep Sold Separately, where I get all my gear. And our homies at Kettle and Fire Bone Broth as well. It's always a mouthful. I know I can pre-record those for you guys, but I feel it's better if I just do it in real time. Then it's more authentic. Otherwise, I'm just giving you some canned bullshit. Obviously, it would be more time efficient if I did that, but I feel like this is the best route for us to go. So with that said, we're talking about 6 ways you can improve. Originally, I got this as a message from my man Pat Rigsby, who at some point I'm going to get Pat obviously on the podcast. I think you guys would get a lot of value from that, especially you young fitness professionals or entrepreneurs, anybody who's obviously running a business. But I'm going to dig into that in a second. But before, I want to talk about something that I do think is important. Obviously, you know, the world has been in a weird place for a good amount of time now, and it just seems to keep getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And the older I get, the more I realize that everything's just made up, man. Like every business, every organization is just as real as Jeremy Scott Fitness is. Like this idea I had in my head to create this thing, that is what every government, every organization, every company, and every system we choose to believe in um, is. It's really nothing more than that. We're all just little kids playing adult. That's truly how I feel. Like I physically don't feel like I'm 17 because my body hurts now in ways that it didn't obviously when I'm 17, but internally I feel that way, and I think a lot of you can agree. And this is something that I've shared on the podcast probably, I don't know at this point, maybe 4 years ago. And it's from a blog post I wrote years and years back. And I always say this, you get this secondary education doing what I do for a living. Not the podcasting and not the app stuff and the internet and the public speaking and those things. It's the actually running a gym and getting to talk to people from all walks of life, all different socioeconomic, financial backgrounds, and you get to hear things and you learn things and you see certain traits and you see certain habits. At least I do, because I don't talk as much. I let these guys talk. And that's what I think of fitness, right? Like when I look at what we do here, it's not about me, even though my name's on the door and it's on the t-shirts and people come here, quote unquote, for me oftentimes. It's not about me. It's about our team of people here. But more importantly, it's about the athletes and the clients who come in here. This is their experience. This is their workout. This is their free time. This is their second space or their third space, depending on how they choose to look at it. It's not for me. And so because of that, and that's the way that I've always approached it, I listen to these guys talk way more than I do, especially if it's my 6 a.m. group who is our people who really push it, but they tend to now listen to me probably the least, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Either we did a good job training them or they've just lost all faith and listen to me talk and they just kind of do their own thing. But I joke, in those sessions, I might, sometimes only talk and say 100 words total because they're moving through space, they're doing their thing, they're sharing their stories with me. If they ask for some advice, if I can give it, obviously I'll give it, but I'm there listening. And I set all that up to say this, you'll learn a lot that way. If you're always the smartest person in the room, you're walking into the wrong rooms. That's just my opinion. A lot of times when I walk in here, I might be the dumbest person in the room. And I'm generally okay with that. That means I'm going to learn something and I'm going to hear things. And I've learned a lot over the past, 13 years doing this business by myself, training people for 18 years now, which is fucking crazy to say. And you get to see the things you like and the characteristics and the traits that are important and the ones you want to leave to the side. And that's where this comes from. And I wrote this probably, again, 4 years ago. And it was just talking about waking up for a paycheck and spending your lifetime, just paying off debt. And I'm not here to tell you guys what to do with your time and your money. That's not for me to decide. However, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen the levels of happiness. I've seen the levels of stress. I've seen the levels of people being unhealthy and depressed. And they could change it instantly if they were just willing to do things differently with their money and their time. And you watch people spend their lifetime trying to pay off debt for things. And they're slaving away the best years of their life, in my opinion, for just material stuff. Being uninspired Monday through Friday, 40 plus hours a week, essentially just working for the weekend. And however you want to phrase it or think about it, that shit is depressing as hell. If you really drill down, walking through your own life like a zombie, week to week, check to check, being swallowed by a sea of mediocrity, unfulfilled, uninspired, and unhappy at your core, that's no way to spend your life, in my humble opinion. The little kid inside of you is pissed off, he hates you for this. It's that inner kid that cries out for so much more. Your potential is there and it's waiting to be tapped into. And I do believe everybody does have a certain amount of gifts that they can share with the world. And think back, all of us, anybody who's listening to this, whether it's you do what you love for a living, you kind of like it, or you fucking hate it, just think about the time when almost anything seemed possible, to an age when almost anything seemed possible for you. You wanted to be an athlete. You wanted to be a fireman. You wanted to be a police officer. You wanted to be an artist. You wanted to be a cowboy. Shit. I even wanted to be Batman. And between you guys, I still do want to be Batman. Who doesn't want to be a, you know, good-looking billionaire orphan? Sounds pretty badass. Um, but that's then, and obviously, this is now. And you find yourself as an adult a lot of times choking on deadlines, meetings, emails, and busy work. And before you know it, you go from 22 to 42 working for someone else's dream, thinking about what you could or should have done with your time. And I say all this today because it doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't. I don't care if you're 15 or you're 95. You have the rest of your life to do whatever the fuck you want to do with it. You really do. And when you're doing what makes you happy, when you're doing what you enjoy, when you're doing something you really love, a lot of the other shit really doesn't matter. It's not just about the money and the job titles and the material things. It's about the growth and contributing and doing something that means something to you inside. And I can tell you from personal experience, and my inner circle of friends would share the same. Like, we don't care what people think or say about our job titles or our salaries or our statuses or, where we are on the career food chain and what the perception is to everybody else. Because the reality is now in the world, the titles don't mean anything. They really don't. They're meaningless. People, I think, sometimes think, oh, you're just an entrepreneur, or you just have an app, or you're just, a social media person, or you're just whatever the thing is that you're looking at and thinking the traditional careers are always so much better. They're not anymore. I'm not saying like being a doctor isn't amazing and being a lawyer isn't amazing and being an engineer isn't great. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, there are other paths out there that don't sound as prestigious that make way more money, give you way more free time, way more flexibility, way more freedom, and way more options. And I'm not talking down about one and up about another, but that's where in our fitness space, if I'm going to ad lib here for a second, people would be like, I hate to go somewhere and say, oh, I'm just a fitness trainer. I'm like, why would you hate to say that? Because they compare you to their cousin Bobby, who's also a fitness trainer, and Bobby fucking sucks, and you're awesome. That part I get, but people do that with everything. But you could have an amazing life. You could be out there crushing it financially in fitness. You could be crushing it with your free time, with your work-life balance, with your happiness, or just doing some shit that you love every single day that you wake up on a Monday and you're generally jazzed to go into work and you don't dread it and you actually like what you do and you get paid to do it. That is success, my friends, at a level that very few people will ever understand, although they could if they're willing to. For me personally, fitness, nutrition, writing, coaching people has literally changed and saved my life, as has working out. I just thinking about that today as I'm moving through space today and I'm trying to work through some shit. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful I live here. I'm thankful the sun is shining. I'm thankful I can fucking work out and move my body around, even if it's, tight. And, you reach that progression where you're like, well, I got to do things smart. I got to listen to my body, but I also want to move it around. I'm very thankful I can do that. That has saved my life, and it means everything to me to have the flexibility and the freedom to do that. And when I got into fitness, like a lot of us, it wasn't about, especially the old heads, the people who got into fitness before social media ever even existed. It wasn't about money or prestige or status or fame or the stuff that I could get. I honestly just didn't want to hate what I did every single day for a living. And I lived a little office cube life for a short time, and to me it seemed like a funeral home. Now some of you out there love the office life, and you love your jobs and you love what you do, and I think that is amazing. I really do. And I just couldn't find that. And some of you are changing the world, from your corporate jobs and from the cubes you live in, and you have a great passion and a great fire, and that is super commendable. That just didn't work out for me. And so this is not about being an entrepreneur. It's not about quitting your job. It's not about doing something, outside the norm. If you love what you do, respect. But if you fucking hate it, it doesn't have to be that way. I say this for everybody who's stuck in the, proverbial rut, if you will, and you sit at a crossroads of what to do with your professional life, which is also your personal life, because there's no difference. Yeah, I know that there's work-life balance, all that. It's just lifetime. It's not work time. It's not lifetime. It's just, that's all it is. It's not work, personal. It's all just lifetime. That's all you really get. And so if you're stuck and you can't really find the direction, you still have time. It's not just a job, you guys. With the amount of time that we spend doing it, especially here in America, it becomes part of us. It becomes part of kind of who we are and how we think, and it becomes to define part of us in certain ways, whether we want to admit it or not. And I urge anyone out there, if you have a dream or you have a passion or a desire to do something more or something different, just take the first step to make it happen. I was a nervous, scared, overwhelmed kid who left, the only, steady paycheck I guess I ever had and went on my own. And 13 years later, it's the best decision that I probably ever made in my entire life. Because without it, who knows where I would be or if I'd even be around. And I feel alive and inspired and motivated, and I have gratitude every single fucking day I wake up. And my wish is that all of you listening to this could do the same thing. And just know you can. And the choice is yours. You just have to be willing to be tactical about it, think about it, understand the logistics and the risk and reward that come with it. But for a lot of people, if you're working in something you hate, you got a lot of free time, where you can make moves. And I'll talk about that towards the end of the podcast. But I just wanted to start that off for people because I know the world's in a weird place. People are changing jobs. People are getting laid off. The economy is a fucking hot mess. They're printing money and doing weird stuff at the banks, and Lord knows where the Titanic goes from here. But you have options, and you have more opportunity now than you've probably ever had in your entire life with what we have at our fingertips. So just take that with you guys as you kick off your day-to-day, wherever you are listening to this. So real quick, this is the 6 ways that you can improve. And any of them can make a difference in your life. But if you embrace them all, I think a lot of you guys will be virtually unbeatable in whatever it is you choose to do. And a lot of you are super successful in certain areas of your life right now, but maybe struggling in others. And sometimes we have to step back from our life and stop working in it so we can work on it. I know it sounds strange, but it's hard to see sometimes your own flaws and faults if you're not willing to look at yourself, in the mirror, especially those of us who don't have a partner and a team to call them on their bullshit. And it's always good to not have yes men around all the time. But the first one is that most hacks are useless. There's so many. I've been down the rabbit hole of Instagram lately, posting and sharing our stuff. We have a lot of people super active in our DMs and all the things that are going on inside of the app. And I've been looking at just different mobility flows. My low back has been stiff, so I've been looking at whether it's QL stuff, if it's psoas, if it's adductors, if it's the hips, if it's the quads, and it's looking at everything basically slightly down chain from the issue, if you will. And been working with some awesome people, Dr. Russell Teams. I got some people I'm meeting with later today, just looking at different ways that your brain works and your body works and how everything communicates. There is so much shit out there. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. There's a lot of really good quality content, more than we'll ever probably need to use in 1,000 lifetimes. But there is a lot. And BG Gaddour talked about this a little bit when I had him on the podcast. I'm going to have him back again actually in April. BG might be making a reoccurring role here just with my travel schedule and what I have some of my speaking engagements close to where he lives. So he doesn't know that yet, but you can message him and let him know. But he was saying, you guys got to stop following 18 different things. Stop listening to 27 different podcasts. Just pick your little core group, roll with it, and then move forward. And it's not to say to not listen to diversified opinions and get good information, but it's sometimes you get paralysis by analysis. There's too much information out there, and that's what I've been finding lately. And I think that's the same thing with the hacks. You have to do all these things to be healthy. Take a cold shower. You can miss me with that shit. Every day get up at 5 a.m. and always meditate and always journal and always read a book. Like, you can't do all the things, and all the things aren't right for all the people. You have to do what works for you. And so stop looking at all the hacks as like they're going to fix everything. Focus on the fundamentals in whatever it is you do. You want to be more productive? Plan your day the night before. Plan your week. Sleep better. Eat real food. Stretch. Do mobility. Pick up some weights. Get outside. And don't consume negative bullshit. You'll be one of the most productive people on the fucking planet. And I know that sounds, odd. Well, Jeremy, those are all like fitness things. When you feel good and your mind is clear, you tend to be really productive. You're more inspired. You can think clearly. When you have 8 negative things and, 2 major shitstorms flowing around in your life and your body hurts and you're tired and you're sore and you're exhausted, it's hard to be real creative. It's hard to be your best. So don't look at every single hack like it's for you. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. But plan your day. Get good sleep. Eat real food. And exercise. And surround yourself with awesome people and don't fill your head with negative shit. You want to earn more money? Do great work. And get more people to experience it. I know that sounds simple. If you work for yourself, if you're awesome and you don't take your foot off the gas, you are going to win. You're going to be successful in this era of time. If you work for somebody else and you are so awesome and so productive and so good that the thought of letting you go would cost them 10 times more or cripple their production or make their business struggle, I think you're going to be okay. So focus on the fundamentals, you guys, the basic things. That's number 1. Number 2, consistency is key. If you want to be better at anything, show up and do it consistently. I think it's more about showing up daily than putting in the long hours. Now, there's going to be times and seasons of life where you have to do more and work more and maybe longer than you want to. There's times here where I'm caught up here way longer than I probably want to be. But that's the nature of the beast. And there's some times where I don't have to be here as long. But I consistently just show up. There's days where I might do 45 minutes of mobility. And there's days where I might do 10. There might be a day where I get an actual full hour where I can foam roll. I can do mobility. I can get aerobic work in and all the miscellaneous things. And then there might be a day where I have to microdose my mobility and do 3 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 6 minutes there, in between meetings and calls and clients and whatever. But I'm consistently doing it. It'll be no different. You don't have to always have an hour-long workout. In fact, many of you, that's probably not realistic or beneficial for you anyway. But you can always do something every day. You might not always get, 10,000 steps in, but if you're getting at least 5,000 steps in on those days and maybe 15 on the other days, you'll be okay. It's the consistency of anything. If you want to be better at writing, write something every day. You want to be better on video, practice being on video every single day. You want to be better at fucking pistol squats, practice your pistol squats. Whatever your thing is, just consistently do it over time. That reinforces the habit. It's the consistency of it that changes everything. And there is so much freedom, you guys, in the discipline of that. And if you just start to stack those little minutes, those little wins on top of each other, you're going to get there. But just don't look at it, and I say this all the time, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's the little stuff. How do you get a stronger chest, a better shoulder girdle? Do some push-ups. You don't got to do 1,000 push-ups on day 1, but if you do 50 push-ups and you do that every day for 30 days, you did 1,500 push-ups. It's the consistency that wins over time. Don't try to hit a home run every single swing. There's a stat here today. The other day we're sharing in the group. I think it was talking about Tony Gwynn and Pete Rose, if you guys follow baseball. Tony Gwynn, probably the greatest hitter of all time. And Pete Rose, obviously, fucking amazing too. And I believe the stat was like Pete Rose could go 1,000 for 1,000 and still not have as good of a batting average as Tony Gwynn, which is fucking crazy. I just the stat for all you sports heads I wanted to share. But my point is that Tony Gwynn wasn't up there trying to hit a home run every single time. He's just trying to get on base. And he's just consistently just trying to get on base. He's just trying to get a hit, and then ends up being probably the greatest hitter of all time. It's the consistency of that. Not trying to always look for the lottery ticket, the quick fix, the fad diet, the fucking home run. Just consistently do the right things. You'll be okay. Number 3, focus, my friends, is a superpower. However, if you want to reap the greatest benefits from your consistency, you have to focus. And you need to focus. Fewer things done better have a compounding effect, and that's tough to beat. Fewer things done better are going to compound. Think about this. When your mind is scattered and you have 19 different things you want to do, I don't know if you guys are like me, the odds of them getting accomplished and getting done well are slim to none. For me, focusing on one thing at a time or a small group of things I want to improve on, I tend to have the biggest return in ROI. I can't do it all, right? Like, so if we talk about, let's say, mobility, and let's say you're someone out there and you're like, you have not great ankle mobility, not the best hip mobility, rough wrist mobility, and the worst shoulder mobility of all time. You can't fix all those in a day. You can't fix them all in a week. But if you focus on the problem area first, the biggest rocks, and consistently do that, you're going to make a change. And that's going to snowball into make a change. That's where you guys are really going to separate yourself from everybody else. It's focusing on what you want, having a North Star, having it be important for you. Every day is the consistency, but this laser-like focus. Like, imagine you are John fucking Wick, and you're just going to kill everybody, who got in your way. Or, the original, which I think BJ Gaddour shared with me, was you're the Terminator. You're sent back in time to kill John Connor, and that's your only mission. It's that laser-like focus. And that's what I see here when people really want to, improve their endurance. They want to lose body fat. They want to have better mobility. They want to have better eating habits. We've had people here track their food on MyFitnessPal for like 700 fucking days in a row. That's consistency for one, but they're focused. They're focused on a goal. And the compound effect of that laser-like focus done consistently over time, you can do damn near anything. Number 4, you got to win the day. And that's a big one for a lot of people. You won't win every day. It's impossible to do. You're going to have bad days. You're going to fuck up. You're going to fail. You're going to stumble. I'm no different. I'm a big of a train wreck as any of you listening out there. But if you set your sights on moving forward and you think about your goals that way and you just push a little bit each and every day over the course of a year, even being successful, let's say 2/3 of the time, will mean you almost took 250 steps towards your goal. 250 days you pushed forward. Think about that. You just got to win the day. And you'll lose some of the days. But if you win more often than not, you're 250 days closer. You're 250 days better than the person who didn't fucking try at all. That compounds you guys over time to year number 2. And you'll be better. Maybe it's 300 days that year. And eventually, you're going to win way more than you lose. And the losses will be so inconsequential to the overall goal of what's been going on. But don't look at it like most people look at goals. Oh, I got to pay off $100,000 of credit card debt. I got to graduate with 128 credits. I got to lose 100 pounds. Just pass one class first. Just pay off $500 on your credit card debt. Just lose the first 5 pounds and worry about the next 5 from there. Fuck it. Worry about the first pound. And don't even, honestly, for that stuff, just show up. Just do the right things. If you don't want to think about it in terms of numbers, right? Even though for a lot of people, the stats and the numbers tend to make the most sense. Just show up every day and move your body. make a better eating choice than you did the day before. Start spending less money and saving a little bit more so you can get your debts paid down. All these little things, you guys, that's how you win the day. It's the little habits. All of these are interconnected if you haven't figured that out yet. Number 5, ideas and dreams and talk, to me, don't have any real value. You don't rise to the levels of your ideas. You fall to the levels of your actions. That's a Pat Rigsby right there. You don't rise to the level of your ideas. You fall to the levels of your actions. And again, I've been doing this a long time. A lot of people say a lot of things. Jeremy, I'm going to do this and we're going to do that. And that's kind of that someday island, right? Like where, someday, I'm going to start a business and someday I'll write a book and someday I'll, train my ass off and someday I stop drinking and someday I'll have better eating habits. And for most people, the someday never comes. It's just talk because they didn't rise to the level of what they were talking about. They fell to the level of their actions. You just got to do. And it won't always be perfect. It won't always be right. But I'm more of a ready, fire, aim guy than a ready, aim, sit there for 3 months and then fire. Yeah, do your research and do your due diligence, but sometimes you just got to fucking move. You just got to put yourself in action. And that's one of the biggest things I can say is just getting things started for most people is the toughest part. But just make a decision and move forward and you can fix it from there. But just get things going in the right direction. There is no such thing as staying the same. We talk about this all the time on here. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. Life is an uphill battle, and you do not coast uphill. Go take a bicycle and try to coast uphill. See what happens. That shit will roll backwards real quick. That is your life, my friends. Number 6, borrow and adapt, or what we like to say here among my little inner circle of fitness friends, it's beg, borrow, and steal, man. We just beg, borrow, and steal from each other. We all share best practices. We all share the best ideas. We all echo each other's beliefs. We might not always see eye to eye. We might not always say the same things or think the same things, but we have this overall belief and our principles are all very similar at the base. And there are plenty of people who have done things similar to what you want to do. I can promise you that. There's plenty of people out there who have done things similar to what you want to do. You want to lose 100 pounds? It's been done. You want to pay off your house? It's been done. You want to start a business? It's been done. You want to have better hamstrings? It's been done. I've seen it happen here. People who couldn't touch their toes, now they can basically lick the floor. Super fucking impressive. Somebody has already done what you want to do and what you are attempting to do. Borrow from them. Learn from them. Then adapt it to you. Make it fit your lifestyle. Make it fit your strengths. Make it fit your circumstances. We learn a lot by standing on, the shoulders of giants. We really do. There's a lot of people here who are responsible for my success in the fitness industry. Probably too many to name. But I'd be sitting here lying, saying, hey, man, I didn't get stuff, from David Jack because I've got a lot from him. I didn't get stuff from like BG Gador. I did. I got a lot from him. And there's a lot of people who have come in here in this space in fitness, whether they're in finance, if they're in real estate, if they're in the medical field, that I've gotten from them as well. We beg, borrow, and steal from each other. And likewise, they've taken from me. And I didn't take it and copy it. They didn't take my stuff and copy it. They borrowed it. They learned from it, the principles and the behaviors. Then they adapted it to their life. They adapted it to their strengths, and they used it to fit their circumstances and to help their lives and to help the people that they serve. You can do the same thing. So if you're out there, well, Jeremy, it's impossible. It can't be done. Unless it's some crazy shit. If you're listening to this and you're like 46 years old and you're like, I want to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. No, that's never been done. And that's not realistic, and that's fucking fantasy land. You need to wake up. But if you're telling me you want to leave your shitty corporate job and do something else, that has been done. If you want to, no longer, have massive amounts of credit card debt, you can get rid of it. If you have, habitually tight hips, you can get them looser. If you're somebody who drinks all the time and eats like fucking shit, there are people who have quit drinking completely, and there's people who used to eat like fucking garbage and now eat amazing. It can be done, and there's people who are willing to help you, albeit I'm one of them. Those are the 6 things, you guys. And I want to leave you with one last thing here. It's a quick episode today. I got an appointment to get to, but I wanted to get you something because I thought this was important. And also, I wanted to test out our new video equipment because when Colleen was here, I shit the bed. I got some good stuff, but this hopefully is better. So this will be up on YouTube as well. If you guys don't follow our YouTube, it's free. There's almost like 2,000 videos on there, and this podcast episode will be on there in 4K. And then I'm doing, I have 2 cameras actually set up right now, so we'll see how this plays out. But anyways, I want to share this before I go. And this is from Mike Samuel, and this just ties into if you really want to make a change, you can do it. And I know we just talked about someone's already done it, and I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know how important these goals are. However, I meet people who have like the worst stories sometimes. They have so much stacked against them, physically, mentally, emotionally. They have kids. They have all kinds of shit in their relationships, in their career, personal, business, you name it. And they're pushing through. And I don't know where you're at right now in your life, but if you're going through hell, just keep going, because that's no fucking place to stay. That's no place to live whatsoever. And it's hard because when you're going through shit in your life, it fucking sucks. I've been there more times than I'd ever like. And at this point, I just want to, if you believe in, God or the universe or unicorn tears or, whatever the fuck your belief system is, hey, man, I want to say, I got it. I've learned the lessons. And every time some shit comes my way, once I can start to get past it and once I can get through it, it turns out to be typically some of the greatest learning of my entire life. It makes me better as a person. It makes me better as a coach. It makes me better as a human. And albeit I fucking hate it, man, when it comes my way. And I hate it when I have to deal with some physical shit, with some mental shit, with some emotional shit, or sometimes you get all 3 at once, which is never fun. But when I can come out of that, and once you can get through that hell, it changes you. And it can give you a perspective, and it can give you a gratitude, and it can give you a gift that you can give back to other people to help them get through their journey. And I say that because Mike Samuel put this little piece out about, making change if you really want to execute. And understanding you can if you really give a shit. And he goes on to say people will happily drop, $100 for drinks, out on a Friday or Saturday night, but they'll complain, that apples or eggs, are way too expensive at the grocery store. And I'm not saying eggs aren't expensive, but if you're going to spend $100 out on random booze on a Friday night, you can afford a, $6 pack of eggs. And they'll say they're too busy to train or to work on their business, yet their screen time is over 4 hours every single day. And they'll claim that they don't have time to meditate for 15 minutes a day or do mobility and stretch for even a half hour, yet they'll binge watch a whole Netflix series on the weekend. And ultimately, it all comes down to priorities. And all of you listening already know that. If you want an outcome, you need to do the work. If you won't or can't do the work, that just means that the outcome isn't a priority to you, which is totally fine. But at least acknowledge that. Anything worth having in life requires time, effort, along with trade-offs. I'm living proof of it. I've given up, damn near everything to be here. More than people even realize, and some days more than I even want, to admit. And I'll leave that for a different podcast altogether. But just know, anything worth having in life requires time, effort, sacrifice, sometimes at the highest fucking levels, and major, major trade-offs. And it's tough. But if you do truly want something, it's worth examining your behaviors and asking yourself, am I telling myself an excuse to justify, my failures? or my, or trying to mask my laziness by making excuses, when really I just need to change my behavior. And I could get all the things that I want if I was just willing to give it a little time, give it a little effort, sacrifice a little bit, and make some, at first, painful trade-offs in my life. But then over time, I can win for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, or however long we're on this earth, that many years. So ask yourself, are you making an excuse to justify why you're not where you want to be? When really, you just need to change your behavior and some habits to get where you want to go. That's it for me, you guys. Take that with you today. Hopefully, if you're in a place where you're struggling to find some motivation, that lit a fire up under your ass. I appreciate all of you guys. As always, if you're on YouTube, subscribe for free. Thank you guys. Leave a comment below. If you are on Spotify, drop us a 5-star, leave a comment there. Or not leave a comment. You can leave a 5-star on Spotify. If you're on Apple Podcasts, drop it a 5-star, leave a comment. We'd appreciate it. Share this with a friend or family member. If this is something that can help them kind of, get fucking moving, man. Life is short. Let's not waste it on some bullshit. Let's get out there and do the shit that we need to do to get where we want to go and have some fun along the way. Because if we're not doing that, what the hell are we even doing here? If you guys want a free sample of Athletic Greens, obviously hit me up. My friends at JLab Pro have a discount on their collagen, protein, turmeric, and krill oils right now. That's all in the show notes as well. And if you guys want to try the Jeremy Scott Fitness app for free, it's a free 7-day trial. All my weekly workouts, full programs, everything under the sun. I'm adding new stuff every single week, and I'm happy to have you guys in there. I'm tired. I got to go get some stuff done. I appreciate you guys as always. If I can pop on Sunday, I will. Otherwise, I'll be back here shortly. I got a ton of awesome guests coming on and a lot of my favorite fitness friends as well to drop a ton of knowledge bombs for you. But if there's stuff you guys want to specifically hear or see on the podcast, shoot me a message. I am happy to record it and make it happen. And until next time, you guys, eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.